She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher. No spotlight needed, no grand applause. She stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure. A woman of virtue who will endure.
Hey y'all, hey, what's up? It's your girl Tanya, aka TG. I am here at the Love Ladies of Virtue Indoor podcast with my girls, Lorraine and Crystal. I might have been doing that the wrong way, but they know who they are and where they are. It's like on here, which way am I going? But yeah, we are here. We welcome you back to another wonderful episode. And today we are talking about living in lack. How to heal the poverty mindset. So hopefully we'll get some tips, we'll get some understanding for anybody that may be struggling or going through. So this is something that a lot of people deal with, but deal with quietly. Right. It's not something that we often talk about, things of that nature, but we're going to talk about it today. And we also want you to know that we're not just talking about money. We're not just talking about a poverty mindset or lack in our finances, but we're also talking about emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So maybe the scarcity of love, time, opportunity, or a lack of belief in ourselves. So we're going to look at it from all different angles, although we're definitely going to touch on money because that's something that's real. So I have a couple questions, and we're gonna kind of popcorn this. So we're gonna do it a little different. So you never know who's gonna ask the question on tonight, right? But I'm gonna start out. What is your definition of a poverty mindset? When you think of the term poverty mindset, what comes to mind?
I think for me, when I think of poverty mindset, I think of living with the mindset that we don't have what we need, like that there is not enough. And it is a way of living where we don't steward what we have well.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. For me, it's basically the same, or it's that you don't have enough and that you'll never have enough to be where you want to be in life. So, and that could be, as you said, financially or any kind of way. And I guess we'll get into those topics of the inner kind of way versus financial.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. It is. I think it's a scarcity-based thinking, but I also think that even when you do have enough, even when your bills are paid and you're doing well, it's a mindset that maybe you shouldn't be doing well. It kind of pulls you back into that scarcity mindset, like, oh man, so-and-so is not doing well, so I shouldn't be doing well. And so now we're back into that groupthink or that poverty mindset type of deal. So I think that it encompasses that as well, as far as finances. In other areas, I think poverty mindset shows up as sometimes thinking that you're not good enough or you're not worthy enough of whatever it is. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wise enough. I'm not pretty enough, or all of those things. And I think that's how poverty mindset can come and show up in those areas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think for me, when it comes to finances, I just kind of have that mentality a little bit when, I make decent money, but when I see people who I know like don't make as much money as me and they're going on trips and they're doing this and they're doing that, and I'm like, how the heck are they doing
what they
all
doing?
of that?
Wrong.
And I can't even get a vacation in maybe in a year. Like what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
But like I make sure all my bills are paid. I've never ever in my life had any late bill, overdue. The lights are always on. The mortgage or rent is always paid. I never had that.
Yes.
I'm going to brag about that because the Lord has blessed me enough to make sure to be a good steward in that regard over my finances. Now, Could I have given up the credit cards a little bit? Yes. I'm not so good steward in the credit cards, but I make sure at least I make that minimum payment every month. But yeah, so that's kind of like where the poverty mindset comes in for me. It's like, how the heck are they doing all of this?
Yeah.
And it just baffles me.
Yeah.
And I empathize with.
Well, I'm gonna challenge you to shift that, right? Not like we in a session or nothing, but I'm gonna challenge you a little bit, girl, because I know a lot of people that do that as well. They're taking the trips and things like that. First, let's say we're not knocking anybody that's taking a trip. Enjoy your trip, have fun, all those things. However, some people are taking their trips on credit, or they are borrowing from someone else to take a trip when their lights are not paid, when they can't pay their car note. And for me, in my mind, that is also a poverty mindset, because now you're living above your means, or you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're not really being, I love what both of you said about being a good steward, right? Being a good steward of your finances, of your heart, of your time, all of those things. We don't think about that. We think of just finances. But I believe, Lorraine, that you're being a good steward, to where so here's my thing. If I'm going to take a trip, I don't want to be on a budget on my trip. I don't want to be like pinching pennies to be on my trip. I want to enjoy myself on my trip. If I see the bag, I want to grab the bag. If I see, if I want to go to the restaurant, I want to go to the restaurant when I'm on a trip. So if I don't have the money to trip like that, then it just to take a picture to say, oh, I'm on the beach, right? And then now I can't pay for nothing. My bill, my lights, I'm coming home to a dark house, all those things. That's too, a poverty mindset. But I get you, because I'm like, you on another trip?
Right.
I know how much you make. So what is happening? But yeah, that can definitely get you. So change it to where at least all your bills paid, all your stuff is good.
But to flip that, we live in a culture, even in, I believe, in the Christian culture, where you the Instagram and the Facebook, and they're seeing the thing, you got to have the bag, God's blessing me this and God's blessing me here, and maybe he is in certain instances, but you don't always have to keep up with the Joneses, and they got their lights on, but you don't. It's
that part.
Like you said, you can't. Your mentality has to be in the right place in order to get out that poverty mindset. So I'm just curious, like I said, of how they be doing trips and all this stuff.
Y'all put something in the chat. Tell us how y'all tripping. Tell us how y'all be taking y'all trips, or send us a separate message so we can trip too. We want to take some trips too. Right. Yeah, you're right. It's like, wow, they doing it up. Right.
Yeah.
But like you said, we gotta be cautious and careful to want what they have, because we don't know, what their situation is outside of. One thing I don't ever want to do, I don't want to be like, hey, Lorraine, can I borrow some money to pay my lights? Because I was just in Costa Rica last week and I don't have it. Right. And so now I'm trying to figure out everything. And it's the same thing. I know we way off topic, but it's the same thing with Christmas, right? We buy all these gifts for Christmas and can't pay our bills. That to me is a poverty mindset, because it's like, I want you to see that I have a lot. And it's okay if I don't have a lot. If I have love, joy, peace, then I'm blessed beyond measure. I don't go into debt doing anything for anybody. I just don't at this point of my life. So yeah, I'd be wondering how they be getting all them good trips in too. So
I was gonna say too, when you said about Christmas and not being able to pay your bills, even wanting to do things for your kids, because I see a lot of moms and I hear a lot of stories about where I got to get this for my baby for Christmas because everybody else is getting something for Christmas and my baby not gonna have nothing for Christmas. But I think it's a great opportunity to teach in that moment that you're not going to always be able to get everything that somebody else may have. And like you said, that if we have the things that we need, we all right. It's okay. Everything will be all right. So
Yeah, that's
we
good.
stopped buying a bunch of gifts for Christmas a long time ago, because my
Yeah.
mindset was, let's do things and create experiences.
Make
Let's
memories.
make memories, right? Instead of, because first of all, if we celebrate, I mean, for us Christian folk, if we celebrating the birth of Jesus, if that's a time that we celebrate the birth of Jesus, okay, why am I buying you a bunch of gifts for Jesus' birthday?
Right. Yeah. And, the expectation is there because, once again, the culture, but at the same time, like, I've never like been a person just to spend money on Christmas. If I couldn't afford it, it ain't happening. And I don't care if your feelings hurt or not. But then it becomes an expectation. I've noticed, like, sometimes at my job site, where I was like giving, and then one year I was just like, no, I can't do this, it's just costing me too much. And then there was that expectation.
You're like,
You
ain't
it's
get
like,
us the gift this year.
and it's like,
What's
nope,
wrong
I
with
didn't give nobody no gift this year, so you ain't the only one, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, people, it's expected, but sometimes people have to understand that, the party's different this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That part. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So another question I have is, what does lack, this is we're gonna bring it home. What does lack look like and feel like in your life right now? What does lack look like and feel like in your life right now? If anything. I don't want to assume that there's lack, but I'm just saying, if there was, what does it look like?
Okay, for me, financially, everything's great, except for I would want more to do more with people. But like, my needs are already met. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? God supply all our needs according to his riches and glory. That's like perfect. No issues
Mm-hmm.
with that. But I think when we go outside of the financial
Mm-hmm.
realm, it's like the love. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
only because, like, I have this admin at work. She did not say, but her heart and love, she's such a giver. She buys me lunch and she's like, this is just a giver, right? And I'm just like, I wish I had her heart in that way. I mean, I give like to people and show love, but hers is just extra. And I was like, I'll be praying, God, please give me a heart like Emily. I'm sorry to say her name, but bless her heart, because she has a beautiful heart when it
Yeah.
comes to loving and giving. And I wish, or I desire my heart to be
Yeah.
like that. So that's
Nice.
like my lack.
Okay.
And that's always kind of been my lack, that I wish I was more loving and giving like that. I do, but it's not
Yeah, not
like
on
that.
that level.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So what is lack? You been in my business, and I don't know how I feel about it. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Lack. So for me right now, in my life, I think that where lack shows up is time, and the ability to parent well. I feel kind of stretched, thin, and so I feel like I've kind of been robbed of the opportunity to mother the way that God intended. And I know that God allows things to happen the way that and I think that we make moves and do things that put us in the positions that we're in. God is good, and he will, he turns the things that the devil meant for evil, and he'll turn them around and for our good. But if I can think of anything or a space where I feel lack, and financially, I need some more money or less bills. One or the other. Something. So since I ain't got that much time, now I'm trying to figure out how to get less bills. But God is a provider and a sustainer. I although I feel lack in those areas, I will say I can't leave it at that, because God is a provider and He's a sustainer. And every time I think I don't have, He absolutely shows up. He shows up.
Yeah, He always shows up. That is true. Where do I feel lack, or what does lack look like? I'll be honest, I don't think in this season of my life, glory to God, I'm not feeling lack, so I don't see it.
Amen.
So that's a testimony to let you know that it is possible. That doesn't mean that it's not going to come. That doesn't mean that I haven't been there. But I will say a struggle that I have in my life, I can relate to the time part, because I am trying to learn how to juggle differently. And sometimes that leaves you feeling like, did I do enough here, or did I do enough there, or was I present enough? So I can say that I feel that, but I don't necessarily feel lack right now. But I want to echo what both of you said, is that God is a sustainer, right? And although we might need more of something or want more of something, we know that if that's His plan for us, He's going to give it to us, right? And to also realize that He may give it to us differently than He gave it to the last person, right? So our love and our heart might be just as pure, but it just might look differently. Our finances and the way that we spend our time or manage and navigate our time, steward our time might be different than the next person. I think that's one thing that can keep us in lack, though. Right. Is by looking at I'll speak for myself, by looking at other people and seeing what they have and admiring it. It's not like a jealousy or envious. It's just an admiration. But sometimes it can keep me in lack, because I'm like, oh man, I don't have this like this person, or that like that person. And so, darn it, or whatever. But realizing that, no, I don't have that like them, but they don't have this like me. Right. Because God created each of us different, and He gave us a different level of everything that we have. And so I think that that's one way that we, as especially women, can often come out of lack, because we might see what the next woman has. Right. And Lorraine, you said something that's powerful. We most of us have some source of social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatever the other million ones are. And so we can look at that. And even with our best intentions, to not be, envious, or to not be, oh man, that's awesome. We can fall into that trap, like, dang, they on another trip. Because I don't know I've been there. When you said that, I'm like, that's the nerve. I'm a tripper. Like anybody that know me know I love to go on trips. When I was in Italy, I was on a trip every month. Like all the things. Now it was easier because I was already over there, so it was cheaper. So that was good. But even in the States, it's like once a year I was always going on a trip, because in the military you get days off and things like that. So I was like, I'm going to take a trip somewhere, whether it's overseas, out of country, in country. But for the last probably about 4 or 5 years, because COVID and then everything else, I have not really been on like a leisurely trip in years. And so when I see it, I'm like, Lorraine on another trip. Hope you had fun, girl. That looked like a good trip. I want to go on a trip, but to say, okay, this is my season to not go on trips. This is, for me, God is doing something different in my life, and I have different reasons to not go on trips. But it's hard, whether it's the house that the person just got, or the car that the person just got, and now we looking at our bank account like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, nope, can't get that, right? But to know that God has us where He wants us for this season. And if there's something that we're not stewarding well, to ask Him, God, help me to be able to steward whatever you have given me, whether it's my heart, my time, my finances, in a way that's pleasing to you. Because the Bible tells us that when we give to Him, not just our finances, right? In Malachi, when they talk about the tithe, that was nothing to do with financial. That was the crop. That was, food and things of that nature, which in turn provided them finances. But he says, bring it to the storehouse and test me.
Yep.
Try me to see if I won't do what I said I was going to do. And so when we are good stewards, that's us, not putting God to the test, but putting God to the test, because that's what his word says. Prove me now to see if I will not open up the window of heaven and pour out blessings, that there shall not be room enough to receive. And it says God will rebuke the devourer. So that means everything that has come to eat up the finances, everything that has come to eat up, your time, everything that has come to eat up your heart's posture, everything that has come to eat up the goodness of God, it says he will rebuke it. Right. And so if he's rebuking it, he's keeping it away, which will allow us to prosper. But the issue in my mind, philosophy of Tanya, is that we don't always test him.
Right.
Meaning we don't give it to him.
Right.
Right. And so I want to go back, not long, because I was just 20. I'm just 21 years old. But back when I was maybe 20, And that's when, maybe 19 or 20, but that's when I started learning about tithing. Because remember, I didn't grow up in church, so I didn't know about it. And so I started learning about it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this tithing thing. Now, mind you, I have a child, I got rent, got car, I ain't making nobody's money. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get my little 2 pennies and hold out as much as I can. And so I started doing it, and I wasn't seeing anything. I was like, okay, these bills coming up, and I don't know how I'm gonna get these groceries and this, that, and the other. Because what I could have did is kept that money and at least got a few groceries. If we could be real, it's like, okay, so I'm giving this much, but if I can split that and get some groceries, and I could pay something on the light bill and all these other things. And I just kept feeling in my spirit, just be patient. And the Bible says, test me. And I'm like, okay. And so it just was one day I was in church, and I couldn't buy any groceries. I didn't know how I was going to pay anything. And I was like, this tithing stuff is for the birds. You hear me? This is for the birds. And I don't know if God is who he says he is, because you telling me to test you, I'm tithing. I'm trying to be faithful. Now I'm a young Christian. So, young Christians have different level of boldness. They'll talk to God like they ain't got no sense, right? And they gotta smack you around a little bit. And that was me. I'm like, okay, because you look, bruh, you said, and all types of just wrong. And Lord, forgive me. But I still was trying to hold on to it. And I said, God, I need you to make a way, because my faith is slipping. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have I can go without eating, but I got a baby. Like, we got to, let's have a conversation. And I went to church that morning, and, it was church as usual, whatever. And so altar call came, and the pastor was like, oh, there's somebody here. You know how they, do somebody here. They can't pay their bills and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Right. And if anybody know me, I was not going to the altar. I was not an altar girl. Absolutely not. And so I'm sitting, he was like, if you're here, come up to the altar. And, people went to the altar. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's nice. And so I'm sitting there, and my mom is looking at me like, you might want to go up there. And I'm like, there is no way. So they can slap some oil on my face, pray over me, and send me back to my seat. And now everybody in here know I don't got no groceries and I ain't got no money. The devil is a liar. That is not going to happen. He would not let it rest. And everybody was going up, and he was like, nope, that ain't it. That is not it. And so I was like, okay, you bugging. Like, Lord, you bugging. So I went up there. Let me go up here so this man can shut up about this and move on, because I'm ready to go home. I'm hungry, because I'm gonna go eat at my mama house, and then I'm gonna go back to my house and take a bag, right, of food. And so long story short, I went up there, they prayed, and he said, all I need is somebody to give $1. And so, by this time I'm crying, and, I'm feeling the spirit, feeling emotional. By the time I opened my eyes, he was handing me a bag, like a envelope that was stuffed full of the $1, like, because people just kept coming to bring $1 or whatever they were bringing. Because, by this time I'm eyes closed, snotting, like, but I had that day received more money than what was due for my rent, my groceries, my light bill, right? And all the things. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh God. And he's like, what did I tell you?
Amen.
If you just trust me enough, it's not gonna be like it won't be like this. Don't think you come into the altar to get a bag of money, right? But I just needed you to see something so real for you because you were doubting so bad. And I want you to know that I will always be here. And from that day on, I have not missed a day of tithing, which is why I believe that I can say right now, 25 years later, I don't see lack in my life because I have been faithful in that area because I trust him, because he showed up in such a way. Yeah. But sometimes he shows up and then we kind of fall back and then we forget how he showed up. Mm-hmm. So I just want to encourage somebody that trust, if you don't know God, first meet him, get to know him, right? And trust him. But it's not easy. I want to say that it's not easy when you're taking a portion of your check, but he is faithful and able to give you above and beyond what you can even think, right? If he needs to and when he needs to. So,
yeah. I would just like to say to that about tithing. Years ago, when I was going to this other church, I was paying my tithes and I had canceled my Cox cable, right? And they were trying to hit me with this tremendous bill that I wasn't really wanting to pay, right?
Yeah.
But it was a choice of paying the bill in full or paying my tithes. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay my tithes, right? So I paid my tithes and everything, but the Cox bill, they kept sending delayed, delinquent, whatever. And I was like, I'm not paying this bill because I didn't feel like I owed the money. But all these years, they didn't come after me. I've had TV, like the TV I would watch on cable. I have access to that and all of that. And so one day God just said, I was like, well, God didn't give me the money back. I was questioning that tithe because they were coming after me, But then he sat me down one day and he's like, look, I sustained you. Like they didn't come take you to court. They didn't garnish your check. They didn't do nothing. He held them at bay. And I got to watch TV like I always do.
And I got to watch cable.
Yeah,
that's good.
But you might not see it immediately like Tanya did, but God is there. If you're faithful and you do what he tells you to do, he's going to be faithful. And like when I started coming to our church, because I was unchurched, I wasn't paying tithes anywhere, but I kind of, the enemy was like, see, with that Cox bill, that's when God opened my eyes about it. So I started paying my tithes at the church there because I know God is faithful. And what's that scripture that says, you never see the righteous forsaken or their seed
begging bread.
So it's like God, he takes care of his own. You just have to be a good steward, love him and trust him and obey him. And God's got your back.
Yep.
He's got your back.
Yeah.
And let me just say that it is true that he will take care of you. You have to be a good steward, and that's what he requires of us. That's what he wants of us. But even when we're not a good steward,
right, exactly.
Even when we're not a good steward, because we just don't know any better. We just don't know. Like I've been in situations where God has, revealed to me myself and shown me you need to do this different. Like you need to, you don't have to do that. You need to move different. And, even in that, he has sustained me and he's kept me and he's provided, Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. And I also want to add to that once he shows us then that's when the call to action begins.
Right.
So
Right.
we may be doing something that we're not being good stewards or whatever, but when he shows us that A, you've fallen away, B, you never knew, or whatever the case may be, when he shows you you're wrong, when he shows me my wrong, that's when the call to action comes to say, okay, now I have to shift, right?
Mhm.
And another thing that I wanted to say is that it's important for us to not live above our means.
Absolutely.
I just feel the
Yeah.
need to say that. I'm gonna say it again for those in the back. It is important for us to not live above our means and expect God to take care of whatever it is. So if I know that I make $500 a month, then I need to do my best work keeping my bills within that $500 a month pay grade. And if lower, then lower. So that means that I don't go get, a house that's $3,000 and a car that's $10,000 and all these monthly bills, knowing that I only make
Right.
$500 a month.
Right.
Right. And then wonder why we're stressed. I think that when we look at our finances that way, that's important too, because my thing for me is I always want to, what if I lose the job? I'm a what if person. I know people don't like that, but what if I lose a job? What if I don't have this? What if I can't go to work? What if, am I still able to sustain what I have? Right. Will it be a struggle? Yeah. But I don't want to live close to my means or above my means, because I just don't like to struggle like that. So I think that that's important as well. If you can't take the trip, save up for the trip and put the trip off.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't afford the car, get a lesser car. You can still get a used car. Right. That's still nice and all of these things. You don't have to get a 2025 Maybach. That's, and if you don't know what that is, that's like $100,000 car. So you don't need that. You can get you a Kia or a
Right.
Hyundai. When I say I love those cars,
Right.
people
Good.
sleep on it. Look, every child that I buy a car for, or they get a car, that you got a choice. You can get you a Kia or a Hyundai. Those are your choices. And okay, because you're gonna be riding fly.
I drive Kias. I love Kias. Those are the only cars I buy.
I've had both. And love them. And they're reliable.
They are.
And they're good on gas.
Yes, they are.
Like all the things. And the reality is, them things are nice.
Right.
If you don't know, go to the lot and sit in one. You might walk away with one or the other. So just, I just want to say that.
But on that
Okay,
note too, Tanya, you got to be careful about saying God's blessing you with something and he's not. Like, I don't know if it's still relevant today, but the name it and claim it thing that, God's going to bless you with a car or a house or this or that. And you got this brand new Mercedes and the note is like a mortgage payment and you can't pay it, but you believe God is going to make that car note for you. And then it doesn't end up happening. And now the car is gone because you believe so desperately that God was giving it to you. And God's not going to put you in financial stress. Okay. If he blesses you with something, there's going to be a payment or that he's going to provide. That's my take. So
I agree. And there's going to be peace about it. I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, yeah, I agree that's where I was going with it, that you'll have peace about it. Number one. Number two, I just believe that when God blesses us with something and we know it's from him, because there is space for us to be a blessing to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are. Like, if you're stretched so thin that you can't, and I'm not saying that we don't go through seasons at all, because there are seasons You know, for me personally, when the dynamic of my family changed and I became a single parent, that's a situation where, you know, life happens and things change and you have to adjust, and, you know, God provides, and you know, he showed up several times in many ways through other people, you know. And so I'm not saying that we don't have those seasons, but I just, even in that, there is still spaces where we are able to be a blessing to other people. And so, you know, if you've gotten something and, you know, it's beyond your means to the point where you got to be working 2 and 3 jobs, and now you can't give of your time, and you know, you can't be a blessing financially in any way because all of your money is tied up in this. I don't believe that that's the way God operates.
Yeah. Because the Bible also says the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. Right. So when I'm struggling on something or with something, I have to evaluate and say, is this a blessing of God? I'm not here to tell you yay or nay. That's between you and God. I'm not ever going to tell you that God didn't tell you that, because that's your relationship. But I think that when we are in a place of sorrow or, you know, stressing and things of that nature, that's when we have to ask God, was this of you? And if the answer is no, it's okay to give that thing up. Right. Yep. If I got the mortgage car, right, and I'm struggling to pay for it, if I don't choose to sleep in my car because now I can't pay my mortgage because I'm paying my mortgage car, then I might have to say, okay, let me turn this one back in and get something that's less expensive. To get something that's more within my means. That doesn't make me less than. It doesn't mean that I'm not good enough, that God doesn't love me, or all these other things. It just means that wasn't the car for me. It was nice. I had fun riding around in it in this month, you know, that the payment was deferred. And now, you know, I got to give it back so I could get something that I could actually pay for. Like, let's come down to a $100, $200, $300 card note instead of $1,000 card note. Right. And so go from there. So, all right. Good stuff.
Be a good steward over what you do have, you know, the car you do have, the house you do have. Even it just came to mind because some of the women in the church think I have this lavish wardrobe and I don't. They want to come and play in my closet. I'm like, if you came in my closet, you'd be like, what? But it's how you put it together and you take care of your stuff. So, you know, I don't spend a whole lot of money on clothes. A lot of things were given to me and I'm like, praise the Lord, you know, because I'll take hand-me-downs, you know, because it's new to me. So it's just how you look at your blessings. Like Crystal said, if it's causing you stress and it's causing you to be like, I don't know. Like you said, you might have to have that conversation with God and be like, I gotta let it go.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So do I let my kids go? I'm just playing, y'all. That is really a joke. I promise you. That's a joke.
For the summer.
For the summer.
Send them away for the summer. Go on, stay with your grandmama, your cousin, your uncle, your daddy, somebody. No?
But that's like being good for like mental health, you know, because my kids used to go away for the summer and I enjoyed that time that I had for myself. So
I tag y'all it.
This broadcast is interrupted by a nervous breakdown with Tanya. What?
But if you have that support, you know, try.
Again, Lorraine, say that again. If you have
that support, try to utilize it.
It's not over. Oh gosh, I love y'all. I'm gonna ask. Let's ask this question: have you overcome a poverty mindset? And if so, how? And in what area? So that's like a 3-part. Have you overcome a poverty mindset? If so, how? And in what area?
At some points in my life, yes, I have.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that I feel like sometimes we go through cycles in certain areas, right? And so what I mean by that is there was a time where I was okay. I'll give a specific example. When I was looking to purchase a home, um, like I was making every movement that I needed to make that would put me in a place. Like even before I started the process, I went to the Lord. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. I know that I need somewhere to stay that is less expensive than where I stay now, because if we keep this up, I can't continue to do this. And so, what direction do I take? So I went to him about what direction to take. I feel like he gave me an answer and confirmed, take this route. And then he literally provided every step of the way in abundance. Like and I was, everything that I needed to do as far as, managing my time, managing my finances. And when I say manage my time, I'm talking about spending time with him, giving him my first, giving him my first in my time, in my finances, in everything that I feel like I've had seasons of going strong, and I'm just the fire is ignited, and God has provided. And then some life happens, or maybe, we get comfortable and we kind of fall off. And so I think at one point in my life, at several points in different spaces of my life, I have overcome lack, and specifically it would be in time and finances, where, I was obedient. I gave my first, and, God showed me, and, he opened up the whole revelation of, that if I give my first, like you said, Tanya, with the scripture in Malachi about testing him, he proved it, and just even in those moments of where I needed to trust him, where I didn't know how things were going to pan out and how things were going to be provided. He provided because I trusted him. I had to step out of the boat and trust him. And so, but I feel like life has happened, and I'm not in that space right now. So I can't say that right now that I've overcome lack. There are things that I need to do. Like I know intellectually, like I know that God can provide. I know that if I trust God, that he's going to come through. If I test him, that he's going to come through. I know all of those things. Now, because life has happened and I'm in the space that I'm in, it is a matter of me stepping out of the boat. It's a matter of me trusting him so that I can overcome the lack that I am experiencing. Literally, that's what it is. So yes, there has been a time that I have overcome lack. Just not in that space right now, but I'm heading.
Yeah, I most definitely have, where I was secure in everything in life, and then all of a sudden I had an upheaval where I lost everything, and it wasn't due to financial ruin or anything like that. It was due to a circumstance in my life. And I had to trust God to start all over again. And he just totally blessed me every step of the way. So my faith was really strong in that, and trusting him. And it's like where I am now versus then, I'm way better than I was then. So I just thank God for, you have to know your seasons, and you have to know when God's saying, hey, this is going to happen. Everything's going to be gone, but I'm going to provide for you. in the future. You just got to trust me. And that's what I did. And he came shining through. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yep. I'm going to say I believe that I have overcome the poverty mindset. And I think it's the way that I did it was how we talked about before, different scriptures that I have come across for different areas of my life, the financial, the self-worth, all of those things. And so I'm going to say a roundabout, I believe that I have overcome that poverty mindset. I just believe in abundance. I believe that my life is abundant. I believe that the things that God has promised me are abundant. They don't always show up right away when I want them to or how I want them to, but they always show up. That's the good part for me. They always show up. Not how I want them to, not how I think they should, not even when I think they should, but I can rest assured that I know that they're going to be there, right? Whether it's in business, whether it's in my relationship, whether it's with my children. And now let me say this, that doesn't mean that everything is squeaky clean, right? That don't mean that my children are acting the way that they need to act all the time. That doesn't mean that my finances are always what I want them to be or as abundant as I need them to be, or well, they're always what I need them to be, but as abundant as I desire them to be. But again, he's always making a way. So we just want to encourage anybody that is going through that may be struggling with a poverty mindset, whether it's in your finances, whether it's spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Everything that you get on this podcast is going to have a foundation of God. Everything that you get in this podcast, the answer is always Jesus. The answer is always pray. The answer is always seek the Holy Spirit. So this is no different. That's what we're going to challenge you to do, because he is the answer. He is what's going to turn it around. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. That doesn't mean that you won't have trials and tribulations, but he is able, right? And I think we had 3 different stories, 3 different testimonies, 3 different seasons in our lives at this particular point. But I think we all have the same conclusion that, but God.
Yeah.
God is able, even in the midst. So I want to ask if anybody has anything that they want to say, anything that they want to encourage our listeners with before I close us out. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say, in the financial department, if you do have problems struggling with your finances, they have financial advisors out there that can make a budget for you to help you try to live on that budget. That's what I do all the time. I have a budget and I go strictly by that budget, and it works great. And I don't think that's how I don't struggle, because I stay with that budget. So if that's an issue, please seek a financial advisor to help you. It's not going to hurt you. It's really going to help you get on track with your finances.
That's good. Because I'm that way too. I can take your finance. I'm like, okay, what's this? Do you need that? What's this? Where's this? Why are we doing this? What? So if you're my friend personally, hit me up, because I got you. I will get your finances together. Now, that's where you're gonna feel lack, because you're like, wait, I can't order out. I can't have Hulu, Disney Plus, YouTube, boo boo, and all that. No. No. Yeah, absolutely not. Not in this season. Maybe in another season, but this season, no, we cutting all that out. I got you.
Right.
Hit me up. So we want to leave you with a reflection. We're going to challenge you to reflect on how lack has shaped your choices. We want you to think about what abundance looks like if you weren't afraid to step out of the boat. As Crystal said, I love that analogy. And we're going to challenge you to do that, right? See how lack has shaped your choices, what abundance would look like if you stepped out of the boat, and then do that. Step out of the boat, right? So that you can live an abundant life this week, next week, and beyond. If you ladies don't have anything, that is our show. We hope that you have an awesome and amazing week. We will see you back here, same time, same bat channel next week. Love y'all, mean it. Have a good night.
Love you all. Bye.
She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher. No spotlight needed, no grand applause. She stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure. A woman of virtue who will endure.